today. You see, I practice. I practice a lot saying that last name because I wanted to get it right.
Yeah.
But welcome from Toronto.
Yes, Toronto, Canada. Thank you so much, Patrice. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to sharing with everybody more information about you and having them get to know you. Aisha has a very unique niche. It's South Asian cultural designs. Of course, that's not all she does, but that's where she wants to focus more of her energies.
Mhm.
And so we're going to get into conversation about that. But first, Aisha, I want you to share with the group anything you want them to know in today's show.
Well, as you mentioned, I really want to do more within my community of South Asians and South Asian design. Within Toronto, Canada, um, there's actually well, it's very multicultural here, right? So I sort of want to have an in on that as well and be able to bring out my culture uh, within the communities here. And I find that people are very accepting, very open to experimenting here as well, and which is why I think South Asian culture is really booming here as well. Like in terms of restaurants, like food is a big thing for us, right? So,
Oh, cool.
absolutely, like branding for like restaurants and that kind of stuff is really big for us. So, and I've noticed that recently in the past 2 years in Canada as well. So, I'm really interested in bringing that and sort of getting more involved into that community here. I do a lot of different things as well. I love doing layout designs, and that can be anything from like publication design, which is actually my day job as well. Like most of it is based on publication design, and I love doing that. It's like the nitty gritty of
Mhm.
setting the column to the right width. I really enjoy that. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm coming from a little bit about me. Yeah.
Okay. So as you were talking, I could see a focus on just restaurants, and that could be never-ending work.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
sending a sample mock-up that you design and just sending it. Wouldn't it be great if your menu looked like this?
I exactly. So it's interesting that you say that because that's sort of what I've been doing. I've been while I also have to be much more mindful now to see how much I'm spending on different projects. But I've been doing exactly that, and I found that initially I was like, oh, like nobody's gonna respond to me, right? Like who am I to like create this mock-up or something and send it to them? But that's again like the fear of I don't know what graphic designers have in their minds, but
Well,
with me, it's like this fear.
it's interesting that you say that because in my coaching program, week 2 is all lessons about mindset.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. That's really great because that's
Yeah.
it. Then we need that change.
Mhm. Because we are excellent at making other people
Mm-hmm.
look confident, look
Yeah.
through the deliverables, look
Yeah.
great, look
Mm-hmm.
polished, and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. But we tend to suffer,
Yeah.
from issues related to our own value, and mindset is the key to transitioning us to a different space. So it's so interesting that you mentioned that. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think recently, especially in the past few months, I really tried to create like little projects for myself based on my my audience that I want to target, and literally just like trying to contact them in one way or another, um, and emailing them these mock-ups, as you mentioned. I've been trying to do exactly that, and I've gotten some really good response from them. Right, like people, just the fact that I did a little bit of research into their product, did like a new idea, sort of like a mock-up for them. People love it, and a
Mhm.
lot of the times people are on the hunt for um, new designers or people to just work with that they can trust and who actually understand that work as well and then they reach out to you if they think that you do understand it, right? And if you have the same like not really potentially like same values even. So I think like that's another
Mhm.
reason that I've been wanting to target South Asian designs because as my own background, I do understand it. So I find like, okay, I've worked in so many different kinds of projects with so many different kinds of people. Why not sort of also target like my own community, right?
Yeah, I think that's great. You can, the sky's the limit with that. It
Right.
really is. Yeah. So I saw on your website that you create lookbooks.
Yes.
And I know you're in publication design, so that kind of explains how you transition. But how did you get started in that?
So lookbooks is actually my first job out of university was at a yarn manufacturing company.
Hmm.
Um, it was a fun bunch of people because they're all creative. Like even there's like knitwear designers that are like designing the pattern for the sock for the sweaters, for example, or scarves, for example. So that's actually where the lookbooks came from. So I started with um, I think initially I started with like pattern designing for them, but then after that they brought me on to like doing a bit more layouts and designing lookbooks for the new campaigns that they were launching. And so that was always like a really fun thing, just because it was very creative. It was sort of like, you know, see how this whole collection will look together um, for you. And this is more for like a launch, for like a product launch or like a full collection launch. So that's where that started with.
Have you ever thought about creating a lookbook for your restaurant venture for the South Asian design?
Uh, I haven't much, no, I'll be honest. I think
I
I've
think
done,
merging those two might be
oh
mind
yeah,
blowing.
it would be, actually now that you mention it, it would sort of be like a extended mood board almost,
Hmm.
right? Okay, yeah, yeah, that sounds like a really cool idea.
Yeah, I think, oh my goodness, I think that's like out of the box thinking.
Right, yeah,
And it'll also get the owners or whoever you reach out to really
yeah,
thinking in a whole different direction.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think you should probably explore how
I
you could
will,
merge the
absolutely.
two.
I think that's the thing, right? I think it is a lot about, as graphic designers, all the skills that we need to be able to bring about something like really new for for again, for ourselves, but definitely for others. Um, so yeah, that's definitely a really good idea. I think like a lookbook for a restaurant, that would that would be like a almost like a brand book for them.
Yeah,
Or like yeah, like almost like a brand book for them. That would be really cool.
but it would be a cutting edge, non-traditional, because most brand
Right.
guidebooks, they can't relate to that. They're like, what
I
is this?
agree.
Why
That's
do I
all for
need
internal
this?
use. Yeah, yeah,
But
I
to do
agree.
this would be, and nobody in the group can steal this idea because Aisha and I came up with this. This is ours. No, I'm just playing. But
Yeah,
please don't, take this and run with it because that's what we're here for. We're for
right,
brainstorming and things like
right.
that. And because I'm visual and you're visual, as you're
Yeah,
talking, I see things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
so,
Thank you for
okay, so I'm going to check back in with you. I'm going to
that.
give you 90 days to make this
Okay.
revolutionary leap.
All right. All right.
And then I'll check back in with you
That
and
sounds
see
good.
how much progress you've made and how much success you've had because I just
That sounds
believe
good.
success over you. Okay.
Thank you. That
Yeah.
sounds that'll make me accountable as well.
Okay. So here's an area that we have not showcased in the show, email design.
Hmm.
When I looked at your email designs, they were so unique and neat. And I encourage you all, when we mention Aisha's website, to go to her website. Um, but when I saw it, I saw, um, do you do any designs for Shopify sites?
Uh, so personally, I have not delved into Shopify yet. It is one of those things that are on my list to learn because it's blown up a lot in the recent months or years. So
Yeah.
definitely it's something that I need to get on board with, but I
And
haven't had
don't
the chance yet.
Okay, because that's what I saw. Your designs are so clean and easy to follow in
Yep.
the for the email design, and I saw
Hmm.
it transitioning over into a Shopify or some type of store like that. So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't even know if that would work. That might work for mobile app, or I don't know if restaurants use Shopify type sites for people to order online, or whether
Right.
that skill set would transfer over for using a mobile app for the restaurant.
I think restaurants do, especially if you're ordering for delivery. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think restaurants do it for delivery purposes, but then also some restaurants also do like, kits, like meal kits and that sort of stuff. So
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
that's another thing that I'm really interested in right now. Like not restaurants, but companies that are offering meal kits because I think that's a really cool idea, especially as like a new mom. It's like, yes, give me prepared food that I don't have to spend too much time doing.
Right.
So
Or let me just take 30 minutes to prepare it if I gotta prepare
exactly,
because I don't
exactly.
have any
So
more time.
exactly. So I think that's like a really good idea and more potential for designers to like work with apart from branding like the full um, restaurant. This is sort of like, it's more online. And I think like um, a lot of like younger people are also really interested in that because again, it gives them, it's something that you can quickly put together. Um, so yeah, that's sort of like another
And you could partner with somebody in the group who loves doing
thing. Oh
that,
yeah,
and they could follow
yeah,
your art direction as you create this entire lookbook
yeah,
for the restaurant. Because we,
yeah.
we're not trying to have you working 23 hours of the
Right.
day. So
Oh,
partnering
I
with
get one
someone
hour
to
off.
do that. And that's to spend with your baby. That's it. You don't get any sleep,
I
you
don't get
know.
sleep.
So you could partner to do that, but I think that would be a great opportunity as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, yeah, cool. So now I want you to tell us about the Spam Collective and
Okay.
the Touched exhibit. So tell us all about it from concept
Okay.
to fulfillment.
Sure. Wow, it feels like it's been such a long time since we did that. Um, so Spam is a collective of four designers. Um, Saida, Preeti, Aisha, and oh my God, the last person I'm like blanking out on Maggie. So we were all together at OCAD. That's where I graduated from graphic design as well, years ago. Don't like to think about that one. But so we had the opportunity of exhibiting at, um, uh, why am I blanking out on this?
Because you have a child. You that
Uh,
happens when you have children.
is that what
You
happens?
blank you blank out. Yeah, you blank
Is that
out.
what happens? I'm
Yeah,
so
it's
sorry for that.
okay.
I did not realize that was happening to me.
And don't have more than one child because then you won't remember anybody's name.
Anything ever. All right. Right, at Gladstone Hotel. Wow. Yeah, it has been a while, eh? Okay. So I had the opportunity of exhibiting at Gladstone Hotel. And I think one of the things that all four of us, so we worked really well together. Like we found that out while we were in our thesis uh, together in a class, and we really worked together. We enjoyed like critiquing each other and all of that. So we wanted to sort of uh, find a common ground that all of us would enjoy doing as like as a larger project, and that's where the idea of Touched came about. We all are also all of our thesis projects also dealt with like I'd say personal slash emotional um, themes within
Okay.
our project. So they were all somehow a bit personal. Somehow they involved emotions, and so we all sort of understood each other. So with Touched, we really liked the idea of exploring um, how our clothes are made
Mm,
by under mostly in underdeveloped countries, and mostly by women. A lot of the
okay.
times by hand, um, and a lot of the times it's it's a lot, it's a labor, it's basically labor for them, but again, it does allow them to be allow the women back home to be more independent as well. So that's sort of where the idea came from. A lot of the clothes that I buy here, and I think that's where the conversation sort of started from. It's like made in Pakistan, like
Mm,
made in Cambodia, made in Vietnam. So I think that's where the conversation sort of started from. And if you're buying a Canadian brand, then obviously it's very expensive because like it's made here, and the idea is that it would be made with really good quality. So the idea of fast fashion was where it sort of stemmed from. Um, and that's when we started exploring like the tags in our clothing, the seams.
mhm.
So the idea of like connected with like a thread came about because we're all connected to our backgrounds. Like I'm very connected to Pakistan as well still. Like I do visit. So do all of the spam collective. Um, a lot of us visit back home. We have this connection. We actually get some for clothes from back home as well. And it's always interesting to find clothes made back home here. So that's sort of where it started. And we really wanted to do uh, like an exhibit, like an art piece on that. And that's where Touched came about. So it's like the value of the garment,
Mhm.
that's formed by that thread um, that's potentially handmade by someone back
Okay. And
home.
what was the
Yeah.
reactions there?
Um, it was very interesting. I think a lot of people came in and they I'm not sure if they understood, but at least they acknowledged that yeah, like if you do notice the tags in your clothing, yeah, they are not made here, and it is fast fashion. It just goes like one year this trend is, this is something is trendy, and then the
Hmm.
next time, next year, next season, it's not. So how is it that the fashion is so fast when it's like how are we keeping up, like even in the community or just as like consumers of the product, right? So yeah.
I was interested in knowing the reaction because for me, you humanized the whole
Right.
fashion industry,
Right.
because we see models, we see runway events and
Hmm.
things like that, but the behind the curtain
Hmm.
activity is where we normally don't see it. We see that
Right.
higher end, high fashion, but there's the fast fashion that you mentioned. So to humanize it it really brought me in.
Right.
And so that's why I was interested in knowing people's reaction because I didn't understand it when I first started looking at it. And then
Right.
once I was like, oh, yeah, yeah.
Right.
So I did not intentionally wear a sweater, even though you were part of your first job was as a yarn manufacturer.
Yeah, yeah.
I did not intentionally wear a sweater because of that. But it made me look and say, what did it take for this to happen? You
Right?
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I minimized it to how much the sweater cost. That's all I
Right.
cared
Exactly.
about.
Exactly.
I
And
needed red and I wanted to
yeah.
know how much it cost. But
Yeah.
it helped bring me back to a place
Hmm.
where I could appreciate the value
Right.
of the time.
Yeah. And you put it really beautifully, to be honest. Like when you said you um humanize it, that's that is I'd say almost like the essence of what we were going for as well, right? Because um we talk about connecting like the first world consumers to the third world creators. So and that's and I think like you can't fully understand it until you do humanize it, until you do think about all the sort of like the little details of it. So yeah, that's a really nice way of putting
Oh, cool, cool. Thank you. I get some points today.
it.
All right. So it's been fun talking to you, but I want everyone to know how to reach you other than in the group. So share with us your website or your IG account, and we can make
Sure.
sure everybody gets connected.
Yeah, so my I know my spellings and my name isn't the most common, potentially, but so my website is aishaijaz.com, and that's AYESHAH IJAZ.com.
Okay.
The extra H is another story. Actually, my H last H got dropped from my name when I moved to Canada somehow on my passport. So my actual spellings were AYESHAH, and now it's
Okay.
AYESHA. So that's why you may find somewhere there's an H, somewhere there isn't, but that's how it is, and I sort of run with it. Um, so yeah, the my website has the H in it, and for email, like I also am on Instagram, and I think I may have posted that onto the Facebook group as well. But it's
Okay.
Aisha without the H, Aisha Ijaz Designs.
All
But yeah,
right.
I'd love to connect with anybody who's interested in just having a chat or anything really, or projects.
Yeah, and they may have some more ideas to add to
For
what
sure,
we've discussed
for sure.
today. So, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Patrice, for having me.
All right.
All right, bye.